Well, good day, viewers. Today we have a 2016 Silverado. I think it's got the 5.3. It's a Z71 4x4. It's got offset rims on it and barely fits over my hoist. I'll have to put some wood on the floor to drive over. It's got a ticking noise in the engine, imagine that, and a misfire. Check engine light is currently on and has roughly 135,000 kilometers on it. So we're going to scan it and see what codes it has to offer. So it's auto ID'd and it's registering 135,126 kilometers. Let's do a network code scan, see if we have any misfire codes or fuel trim codes. It's got a tick in the engine. I did a clear flood cranking test and it seemed okay. Knock sensor module performance, that could be because of the tick in the engine. P0300. Random misfire, invalid data received from engine, that's because of the misfire in the knock sensor code. Low voltage from the control module in the HVAC system. Battery's a little weak. Should put a battery maintainer on it. It's 11.8 volts right now with the key on. Low voltage from the radio. Lost communication with HVAC. LIN bus codes. Control module low voltage. Yeah, invalid data received from engine control module. So before we clear the codes, we want to look at misfire counters because that will be cleared. So we're going to go into engine data and misfire data. Where is misfire data? Ignition, misfire data. Second one, and I missed it. This should show the last 10 drive cycles and the cumulative misfires over the last 10 drive cycles. So cylinder number 6 has 35,819 misfires. Cylinder 6, is that a AFM cylinder? Misfires on cylinder 1, 3, 5, and 7. But the majority of the misfires are on cylinder 6. Let's start it and have a look at active misfires. So it is showing active misfires on cylinder 6, and you can hear the ticking sound coming from the right bank, it sounds like. So I think we're going to investigate the push rods on the right side. So there's the right valve cover off. This is number 2, 4, 6. Number 6. Exhaust has an issue. So we're going to pull that rocker arm off and see what's going on in there. Hopefully the push rod is bent and the lifter is not collapsed. So it was bound to happen eventually. I wouldn't get lucky this time. There's the push rods out of number 4 intake and number 6 exhaust, and it looks like the lifter is collapsed. I've got a borescope down number 4 intake push rod hole, looking at number 6 exhaust lifter. I'm going to see if that lifter is broken. There's a spring on the top of the lifter that sometimes breaks off. So I've confirmed in fact that that lifter is collapsed and it's locked down, stuck in the collapsed position. Oh boy. I am going to have a heart-to-heart with this customer because the cylinder head has to come off. At the dealership level, I typically replace all the lifters on one bank. But we'll discuss this repair with the customer and see what he wants to do. So we pulled the right cylinder head off this 5.3. I managed to leave the bracket, which normally you're supposed to remove. You can get the head off. Take the exhaust manifold off. I also left the fuel injector rail in because this head doesn't have bolts underneath the rail, so there's no reason in my opinion to take the fuel rail out and have to deal with the injector O-rings. I got to clean everything up. The intake manifold is a challenge. That plastic cover that sits over top of the intake is clipped to the back of the manifold, or back of the harness back here, with a bunch of push pins, 1, 2, 3, 4 push pins, and you can barely reach back there. So I found if you unbolted this and lifted the cover up, you could slide the intake manifold out from underneath it and then you could tilt it forward and get the cover off. So that's the way we're going to reassemble it. Now we're going to clean the antifreeze out of the combustion chambers there, and pull the lifters out. So what's wrong with this picture? This is number 6 exhaust and number 6 intake. You can see the lifter is stuck, collapsed. Oh well, we're going to put a set of lifters on this side now. Clean up the head gasket surface, clean up the cylinder head, and reverse the procedure to reassemble everything. So there's the head reinstalled. Head bolt torque, new head bolts, 22 foot-pounds initially, starting in the center, working to the ends. Then 90 degrees, followed by 70 degrees. Thanks, engineers. So there it is, mostly back together. I got the right exhaust manifold bolted on with the new gasket and new bolts. I didn't use the factory bolts supplied by the dealer because they're $6 a bolt for an exhaust manifold bolt, so I just used regular bolts and flat washers. The exhaust manifold bolts are twice the price of a head bolt. Can you believe that? Whatever. Intake installed. Rocker arms are 22 foot-pounds. Yeah, I still got to install the alternator and the coolant lines and connect the exhaust from down below. But I'm going to call it a night. We're about to fire this thing up. We've got everything connected, I believe. Exhaust tightened. Cooling system filled but not sealed yet. Let's see how it starts. Moment of truth. So for the lifters to pump up. Seems pretty good. Oil burning off the exhaust manifold. Okay, we're going to run it up to temperature and fill the cooling system. So we're going to clear all codes read by code scan. You can do it with the key on, engine running. I believe, we'll see. Chrysler's don't let you. Well, sometimes Fords don't let you, but I think GM will let you, even though it recommends key on, engine off. We'll see. Cleared. Let's go into engine, data, misfire data. That should have cleared the misfire history. Yeah, everything's 0 now. Well, we're going to do AFM delete electronically with EFI Live. I've done that before. I've made videos on that already, so I don't think I'm going to bother adding it to this video. Let's see, coolant temperature. Let's monitor the coolant temperature, make sure the thermostat opens correctly. I'm going to look at the oil life remaining. See if we should do an oil change. Probably wouldn't hurt. I think it's an accessory data list. Calibration, engine position, exhaust after treatment, cruise control, electrical. I think it's in this data list. I was looking for it on the dash, but it should be under engine oil life. Snap-on, we need a keyword search. Engine oil absolute pressure. Oil life remaining, 91%. Okay. Well, I didn't get coolant in the engine oil, so it should be good. Just watch the monitor the coolant temperature as it warms up. And that's funny, that list opened up at the bottom of the list instead of the top of the list. Coolant temperature, 52 Celsius. Should come up to about 94, 95 and then drop. So it's an E92 controller, and I'm using EFI Live to read the programming in the controller, and then we'll go in and modify the active fuel management, displacement on demand concept. Okay, so now we've read the tune. We can now edit the tune as soon as it's finished loading. Engine operation, active fuel management, parameters. Change this to no, and save. Save as. Save. And now we send that file into the computer. I got to check to see if I have a VIN license. So I do have a VIN license left. We'll have to cycle the key likely after doing this. You don't need a license to read the calibration, but you need it to flash it. Okay. Got to start the timer again. This just ensures the computer fully resets after cycling the key. They make you count down 20 seconds. It used to be 10 if I recall correctly, but then we can turn the key back on. Okay, turning the key back on. And then we do calibration flash. The process doesn't usually take very long. You can see that probably about a minute and a half. It's fairly quick. You want to make sure you have a clean battery charger on the vehicle. You deactivated the daytime running lights, turned off the heater controls, the heater fan. You don't want any accessories. Don't open the door. Don't do anything that might cause communication on the CAN bus. Just let the vehicle sit while this is going on. Don't touch anything. And as I said, this will eliminate the displacement on demand, active fuel management, whatever the name du jour is, but it won't necessarily prevent the problem from reoccurring, a lifter collapsing again. But in my opinion, if the lifters don't collapse for the active fuel management V4 mode, then they don't have to relatch and pump up again, and that's where the problem lies. When they relatch, they don't do that for whatever reason, and then you end up with a stuck lifter and a misfire on a specific cylinder. Okay, that's basically it. Take this thing for a road test, make sure that the fluid levels are good, and we'll call this one fixed for now. Thanks for watching.